so basically what we want to do is I recommend that we have, you really want to use some good color theory right here because it's a part of what creates the tension. That we want to have two main colors. That here at the 4FP agency, that we kind of have two greens and a blue, and then we'll actually use an orange for a call to action color sometimes too. But it's about what we're going to have actually be contrasting. So we go through this page and we put in our colors here, and it should only take a few minutes. And then basically just make sure to save this document and enter the RGB numbers over here as well. And yeah, that's really all we need for this part of the process. And let me just for 1 second, I need to check my speaker notes. So part of what we're talking about is style. That what we're doing is that we're actually we are documenting our firm's style. We're creating rules of thumb because this consistency is a part of what actually helps us in the long run. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what style is. And style is the act of how you are choosing to be attractive. A lot of, I'm a man, but, a lot of women, when, if I was a woman, I would have, been putting makeup on, other things like that. I still made sure to, dress appropriately for you guys. And all of these things are really important. And even just mention, there's this guy who's really known by his blue shirts. And if you know that I'm talking about Michael Kitsis, that's branding. That he's actually used down to the color of his clothing as a way to cement his brand. And that he is really using, blue, that royal blue, white, black, and as a result, it's just created a lot of consistency, and it'll be the same logo in various places. And that is a part of what really helps us with making sure to actually create that consistency. Next thing I want to talk to you guys about are fonts. This seems, I've had folks think that this isn't the most important thing, but it also, frankly, it's a part of what really creates, especially that subconscious feel of a consistent style. And what we would like to do here is that, what I'd suggest is if you want to have some sort of fancy dancy font, with a lot of, we call them serifs, which are the curls on the end, like in Times New Roman, there's the little extra bits on it. But if you're over an Arial, there aren't. So Times New Roman is a serif font, and Arial is a sans serif font without the little curly bits, is what that means. And so generally the most stylized font is the first one. And then something similar and that feels good for H2, the secondary headlines. And just having those two things in a body font really start to create a lot of consistency. And if you don't know about, like, fonts are one of those things that are a little bit universal between computers, and that there's standards. And you'll see lots of fonts. There's a lot of highly paid fonts and stuff like that that big brands use so that they can actually have it so that they're locked in on this part of their branding. But generally what I'm going to suggest that you use, even just simply for the reasons of like page load speed on your website, is to pick a font from Google. If you go in here and you click this Google Fonts icon or link, it'll actually pull up. It's fonts.google.com. And this is something that is generally available to every website. We build our websites with Thrive themes. And basically what we can do for a client when someone comes in is we actually set these 3 fonts while we're there and while we're doing it. And it actually makes it so that when one of our developers goes and starts a new page, that it's all actually set there in place for them already, which makes it so that they don't have to make those decisions, that there's, as you remove design decisions and say, I'm sure of this, that makes it so that their creative energy can go into a different part of what it is that they're making. And this thing is pretty huge. There are hundreds of fonts in here, all sorts of things. And so if you're like, oh, I want a handwriting font.
We can't
Type
see
it
your
into here.
screen really. I don't know
Oh,
if
I apologize. Sorry. There we go. I think Facebook can see my screen and that the Zoom could not. So there are handwriting fonts. There are also, and see, there's a variety of them as well. So you can go and basically any of these are available on your website, but we can also, classic, maybe classy. Yeah. And so there's some nice serif fonts. And I just make a decision, makes a decision that works well. I mean, maybe this Bontini or Bondoni classic floors is exactly what sort of has the feel for your brand. Maybe you really like this like little hollowed out of the inline right here. Um, Once you have this set, then it's going to make it easier to just as you're making, even if you're in like Canva, stuff like that, being able to know what you want to have as a font here is really, really helpful. And I'm going a bit fast here, guys. So let me see what else I want to make sure that we cover. This is a lot of what I wanted to cover in the first day. And this is what we're going to start to get into. We've definitely been going for about 20 minutes now. So I want to make sure to let's talk about this for the day, and then we'll wrap it up. So what we have here are purpose statements and value statements. And what I want you to do is to this is a brain dump portion of the exercise, and we'll refine this as we move further through the document tomorrow and the next day. But basically, what I want you to do is say, why are you doing this work? What is it that, why are you called to serve in this way? And hopefully that you're coming to the perspective with your clients of serving them, of providing value in their lives, because that's also a part of what creates that long-term relationship and that long-term value, which results in them becoming a client and also bringing more accounts over and staying with you for the long term, which is a part of what we look at when we're looking at lifetime value of a client. Ideally, if you have, 30 years or even 10 years with a client, that's a pretty big number, and it can be worth quite a lot to acquire them, because even if you spend everything to just get them for that year one, that's still only 10% of the money that they're bringing in. That's pretty good. I know you have overhead and all that kind of other stuff, but um, being able to have it so that you bring someone in, create that trusted relationship. If we were looking at the customer value journey, a lot of the bottom row of the customer value journey is often cash negative, and getting that first person to come on. Sometimes I have clients who they'll offer, a cheap thing, and sometimes they'll just, basically work with the client for like a month for free. And then after it feels like things are going well and like they like the client and does need to be a good fit. But then say, hey, how about we take those next steps and start to go a bit deeper? So the second box here is the values. We want to talk about your why. What are the core beliefs that are driving you to keep on going? Why is it that you're doing this work? And what end result are you trying to make in the lives of your clients and the lives of your community? And both of these things are just going to be a bit of homework for you. Um, I'll give you a little bit of time to just kind of get some things on the page there. But basically, maybe pause the recording if you're watching this recorded, and just spend 5 minutes filling in these sections. So with that, folks, I want to say thank you for this day of the challenge. This is a very exciting thing that we're doing. I really like this challenge. I wish we were even getting even more people aware of what was going on here and the benefits of that. But this is pretty great. Thank you very much for your time today. We'll meet again tomorrow at 11 o'clock Pacific. Take care.